Hello everyone, Mrs. PM here, and today we are going to create spider webs and a spider using our complementary colors. So what you're going to need is a black piece of paper. You're going to need some scissors. You are going to need a string, and this is optional. You can use a piece of floss or thread or whatever, and it's just if you want to attach your spider to your web. You're going to need some glue. I recommend stick glue, but I don't have stick glue, so I'm using liquid glue. You're going to need watercolor. You're going to need a cup of water and your brushes for your watercolor. You are going to need a pencil. You are going to need a ruler and a piece of watercolor paper and some crayons. So over here, my crayons are set up in the color wheel. And so a complementary color are colors that are across from each other on the color wheel. So red with green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. So you're going to pick one color. So I am going to choose blue. And so I know I'm going to choose a blue crayon, so I'm going to choose orange watercolor. If you choose a yellow crayon, you're going to choose purple watercolor. And if you choose a red crayon, you're going to choose green watercolor. So I chose blue. I'm just going to set my color wheel aside so that I have a little bit more space. But we are going to refer back to that later. So in the center of your page, just put a dot. Ready? Like the dot story. Artwork starting with a dot. And then using your ruler, you are going to measure from the center of your page to the corner of your page. And you are going to push your crayon against your ruler. And you want to push pretty hard because we are going to do a resist with the watercolor. And you are going to push against your ruler and draw that line all the way to the corner of your page using your crayon. And maybe go over it a few times to make it pretty dark. Then from your dot to the top, the center of the top of your page, you're going to push your crayon against your ruler and take that crayon all the way up to the top of your page. We are drawing lines right now. Okay. And then to the corner of your page, from that dot to the other corner of your page, you're going to draw another line, and you want to go over it a few times just to make sure it's really dark so that it will show up when we add the watercolor. And then to the center of this side of your page, push your crayon against your ruler. I'm going to go over it like 3 or 4 times because I want that line to be really dark. To the corner of your page, of the bottom right hand side of your page. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the center of your page, the center of the bottom of your page, I'm going to have to turn my paper so that, because I'm right-handed. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the diagonal. You may need to turn your paper too so you can really push that crayon against the ruler to get a nice straight line. And then to the center of the page, the center of the side of the page. 1. Oh, I just broke my crayon, pushing too hard. 2, 3, 4. There we go. So we have our lines here. And now what we're going to do is we are going to draw the letter U with that same color in between our lines. So we can do this about 3 times. So from this point to here, we are going to draw the letter U. There's just a U. And then about the middle of it, to the middle here, just drawing the letter U, the top to the top. doing the U. And then we're going to come from that same point over, drawing a letter U. Connecting that same point, drawing the letter U. From that same point where we ended, drawing the letter U. Turning my page as I go, just because it makes it a little easier. Drawing the letter U in between the spaces. I'm pushing decently hard so that the wax in the crayon will resist the watercolor that we're going to put on top of this. And if you break your crayon, sometimes that happens. It's okay. So here, what I did is because I knew that this line was imaginary, I'm imagining it extend past it. So I'm going from here to that imaginary point up here. And that's why I didn't go all the way to this line, because it should be all the way up here. So you got to use your imagination a little bit with this. From this point to that point, from the top to here. And again, using that imagination, imagining that this line coming all the way about here, pretending to draw, it's going to come in here and all the way up to the top. Continuing drawing those U's from point to line, point to point, drawing curved lines, pressing pretty hard with your crayon. Just drawing a U. Oh, okay, so we're here at the last part. We're going to connect each U together to make it a whole. And there we go. So you may need to look at your paper, think, I should probably make this line a little darker. I'm looking to see where it needs to be darker, where we need it to be a little waxier. All right, and I think that is good. So now we're gonna come in with our watercolor. And this is really important because we are going to use the complementary of our watercolor. So I don't have a direct orange. That's kind of orange, but it's a little bit too red. So I am going to just add a little bit of yellow so it's a little bit more orange. You probably have a color that you probably won't need to mix it, because I have not gotten my watercolor yet, but you guys should have your kit. So there we go. So back to our color wheel. I chose blue, so I need to do orange. Whatever color you chose, you need to find the complementary color of that. So if you chose red, you need to do green. If you chose green for your crown, you need to do red watercolor. If you chose yellow, you're going to do purple watercolor. If you chose purple, you're going to do yellow watercolor. So look at the color wheel. Figure out what color you need to choose. If you need help, just ask your learning coach if they can help you out. And I'll leave the color wheel up so that you can decide. While I fix my orange to look a little bit more orange. There we go. So for a crown resist, you want your brush and your paint to be very wet. So get your whole paint wet. Get your brush wet. Then we're going to come in and we're just going to paint in between the lines. And see how it will resist? You can go right over top of it. And I think you need to add a good deal of water to it because you kind of want your complementary watercolor to be a little lighter so that the complementary color stands out even more. So add a lot of water to your paint. Making sure you're doing the complementary color because complementary colors create striking visual effects. They also create contrast and emphasis. You guys just did a project using contrast and emphasis, and a lot of you use complementary colors to create that contrast and emphasis. So we are wanting to emphasize that spider web. That's why we're using the complementary color. Ooh, that's a little dark. See how that's too dark? I'm just gonna add more water into it. If your paint comes out too dark, just all you need to do is add more water. And that will lighten it up. So make sure you're using the complementary color because you want that spider web to stand out. And that's why we're doing the complementary color. We want it to stand out. So I'm doing all my lines out from the center. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it straight across. You can do it horizontal, but I kind of like that look as the streaks of the watercolor are coming from the center. I think it adds to the effect of the spider web, but you don't have to do that. This is your artwork. You can make it how you want it to be. And you might be noticing that you didn't push hard enough on your crayon and your watercolor is seeping through. That's okay. Just go back and take your crayon and darken up some of those lines that you need to. So what is happening is the wax that is used to make the crown, wax repels water. So because our watercolors have so much water in it, the wax is repelling the water so that the watercolor, the color won't stick to it. And that's why we get this really pretty effect. A little too much yellow in there. You can come back. I'm coming back because I want this side to look a little bit more orange. And always come back and fix what you don't like or want to make better. There are no mistakes in art, just happy accidents. There we go. Okay, so while we let that dry, we're going to take our black piece of paper and we're going to cut out our spider. So fold your black piece of paper like a hot dog bun. So if you have it like a portrait, you fold it in half. There's your hot dog bun. Then we're going to take our pencil and we are going to create a spider. So we are going to do we are going to draw half a circle that looks like maybe about an inch long, half a circle. We're going to do a bigger circle, probably like 2 inches, double the size of the first one. Oh, this is going to be a big spider. And then we are going to do 8 rectangles. Anyone want to guess what the 8 rectangles are going to be? They are going to be the legs. Awesome. And I'm going to show you a trick to how to cut the rectangles out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you should have a piece of paper folded in half. 1 tiny circle, 1 bigger circle, 8 rectangles. Then we're going to bring in our scissors. We are just going to cut straight down the lines that you drew for your rectangle. I find sometimes my scissor lines are straighter than my lines that I drew. So now that you have all of those cut, you are just going to come from the bottom and cut straight up. And see all the legs popping off? Now we actually will have 16 legs. Oh, I didn't cut that far enough. If you didn't cut them far enough like I did, then you just got to come back in and cut those. But usually it works a lot better. Or you can just come in and cut along the lines. There you go. Cool, so we got all our fun spider legs. Let's cut out these circles. This one, the big one is for the body. Little ones for the head. Put aside your piece of paper. Open it up. Think, is there anything I want to fix? No, I kind of like it. And then we are going to make sure our pencil lines are facing down. We are going to put a drop of glue, or if you have stick glue, press a little bit of glue on the very bottom of the head. And I'm going to put that on top of the body, lining up the creases so it's in the middle and pressing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to flip it upside down and I'm going to put the legs on the back so that they pop through on the front. Where's my other spider? Right here. See? So when you turn it over, the legs are behind. So we're going to glue them on the back so that when you flip it over, they're behind and you can't see your glue marks. Like that. So just a drop of glue goes a long way. All you need is a little bit. We are going to put 4 legs on each side. And you should have a ton of legs to pick from. Different sizes. You can pick whichever ones you want. Then if you want, once it dries, you can come in and bend the legs. So you can use stick glue for this also. I do not have stick glue, so I am using liquid glue, but you can use whichever type you prefer. If you are using liquid glue, just a little bit goes a long way. I always put too much glue. When I was in 2nd grade, my teacher told me not to put too much glue, and I still do it all the time. But that's okay. See, that one has too much glue. And then if you want to take your string or a piece of floss or whatever to connect your spider, you're just going to cut a little piece. This is still a little wet, but we will put a dot of glue. I'm going to put it right in the center. And I'm going to put my string into that. And we're going to let that all dry. And then I'm going to attach the string to the spider. I'm going to attach it on his bottom, but you can put the string where you want. And we are just going to sit and let that dry while we answer some reflection questions. So once your spider is dry, you can come in and add some details to your spider. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold a knee. So I'm folding that up. Then I'm going to fold a little foot. I'm folding both of those up. Folding a knee. Then folding a foot. Folding a knee. Folding a foot. Folding a knee. Folding a foot. And kind of makes it look a little bit more real. Folding a knee, folding a foot, folding a knee, folding a foot, folding a knee, folding a foot, folding a knee, folding a foot. There we go. And if you want, you can come and use the complementary color of black and take a white crayon. My white crayon is broken, so I'm using this really cool colored pencil crayon. And I am going to add some detail, maybe like some lines on the back. Making your spider your own, however you want to color it. You don't need to copy me. Just do what you like. I'm just using some lines. To give it some design. You could even try and use a white marker if you have that. I do not, so I'm sticking with my pencil crayon. Ooh, or white paint. I might make a smiley face because I want a happy spider. You might have a scary face to have a scary spider. Then I'm going to do some eyes. I'm going to give my spider 4 eyes. Looking in all different directions. Some fun eyebrows. There we go. Now you have your spider.